In September 1994, something extraordinary happened in a small town near Harare, Zimbabwe. At the Ariel School, more than 60 children ran out to recess on what began as an ordinary day. But what they claimed to see would become one of the most famous UFO encounters in history. The students described a strange metallic object descending from the sky and landing just beyond the schoolyard. Unlike fleeting lights in the night or distant sightings in the sky, this craft was close, tangible, real to the children standing only a few yards away. Some kids thought at first it might be a helicopter, but the shape was wrong. The sound was absent. It simply sat there, silent and strange. And then the encounter took a darker, unforgettable turn. The children reported that figures emerged from the craft. Beings unlike anything they had ever seen before, beings whose gaze seemed to pierce right through them. The children later described these entities with chilling consistency. Small in stature, with thin bodies, pale skin, and large slanted black eyes. The beings did not speak, yet many of the children insisted they felt an overwhelming sense of communication. Thoughts impressed directly into their minds. The message, according to the children, was urgent and frightening. Humanity needed to take better care of the earth, or risk catastrophe. Some described visions of environmental destruction, images they had no way of conjuring themselves at such a young age. The figures didn't move like humans. They seemed to glide, their eyes locking on the children in an unblinking, unsettling stare. Witnesses later admitted they felt both frozen in fear and strangely calm, as if the beings were controlling their emotions. Not every child saw the same details, but their testimonies fit together into a picture too vivid and too strange to ignore. What happened next drew the attention of the world. When the children rushed back inside, terrified, teachers could see something was wrong. Faces pale, voices trembling. They spoke over each other, trying to explain what had just occurred. At first, the adults thought it was a prank or a case of mass hysteria. But as more children came forward, their descriptions lined up with unsettling precision. Word spread quickly beyond the school. Soon, reporters and investigators descended on the Ariel School grounds. What they found was not chaos, but a remarkable consistency. Over 60 testimonies, all pointing to the same bizarre details. Researchers noted that the kids varied in age, background, and language, but their accounts were nearly identical. Some drew pictures of the craft and the beings. Others described the overwhelming telepathic message they felt burning in their minds. For the investigators, it was unlike anything they had ever encountered. The sheer number of witnesses made it impossible to dismiss outright. One of the most famous figures to study the Ariel School case was Harvard psychiatrist Dr. John Mack, a Pulitzer Prize-winning author and highly respected academic. Mack was not a man easily swayed by fantasy. He traveled to Zimbabwe to interview the children personally, recording their testimonies on camera. What struck him most was not just the content of their stories, but the raw emotion behind them. He noted how their eyes filled with fear as they recalled the encounter, their voices breaking as they described the being's stare. Mack concluded that these children were telling the truth as they experienced it. This was no hoax, no mass hallucination. His involvement gave the case global credibility, and that the Ariel School UFO incident was soon compared to Roswell and other landmark events in UFO history. Yet, unlike Roswell, this case didn't involve wreckage or military reports. It was the voices of children carry the weight of the truth. Decades later, the Ariel School UFO encounter remains one of the most compelling mass sightings in history. Many of the children, now adults, continue to stand by their stories. Some admit the memory still haunts them, the fear in those black eyes, the strange silent communication. Skeptics argue it was mass hysteria, a product of imagination and suggestion. But believers point out that the sheer number of witnesses, combined with the depth of detail, makes this case stand apart. Unlike fleeting lights in the sky, this event was experienced up close by dozens of children in broad daylight. Whether you see it as proof of extraterrestrial contact or an unsolved psychological phenomenon, the Ariel School UFO encounter continues to captivate researchers and believers alike. This is Joshua Tree Encounters, where UFOs, cryptids, and high strangeness collide. Subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries that challenge our understanding of the world.